Alright, y'all. I'm just like kind of deciding that maybe my opinion might be worth two shits these days. Um, I am seriously concerned about the machinations of this presidential administration. You got Bob Barr like floating out hints to state districts attorneys of the federal government that they might want to be on the lookout for um, state lockdown orders that might be constitutional. Oh, he's Bob Barr, the Attorney General, is so worried about the Constitution. Hmm. But the Emoluments Clause of the Constitution, you worried about that? You that means that Trump is actually profiting from his role as president. So, his hotels that are being lavishly paid for by people from the Middle East, Chinese, other foreign executives, some of which are from South America. They come into his hotels, and instead of the typical American nightly fee for a high-class hotel, would I guess $300 a night, maybe $600. How about $6,000+ a night? How about buying whole floors, which is what the Qatar and the Saudi governments have done at Trump's hotel in Washington, D.C. Oh, well, that's just business. William Barr's not worried about that. No! What the fuck? But he's worried about state governors and state local officials who just might decide that it's in the best interest of their citizens if we listen to public health officials who actually got college degrees and learned about something called science. They might be doing anti-constitutional things. Bill Barr? Look up Bill Barr. This is the man who looked the other way when there was legal cases against Ronald Reagan and George Bush, the father of George W. Bush, because that 1980 election was kind of funny, the way that Iranian crisis worked out, and the way the hostages waiting on the tarmac in an airplane right when Ronald Reagan is going to speak. How does William Barr, look it up. He's now our current Attorney General. Despicable, worthless human being. Because he has decided that his role as Attorney General of the United States is not about doing what is best for the United States or what is in the best interest of the United States, but about what is best for his political interests. And so he's thinking, let's get all these attorney generals across the United States to put up these cases in which they accuse local officials and governors of being anti-constitutional because they are making decisions about lockdowns that are about the best interests and public health, that are about sanity. Okay, so, no one wants to lock down the economy. No one wants to do this. But when you have a virus that is contagious, that is more contagious than the flu, that is about as contagious as the common cold, it means it's easily obtainable just by being near people. Think about that. Okay? And then, not only that, but this is worse than the flu. You listen to people who have talked to you about it. You get the flu, it's like 2-3 days. Most of the time. Almost all the time. These people are talking about 10, 12 days, like bedridden, like horrible. And we're finding out that this disease which attacks the AC2 receptor, a receptor that is on the outer part of cells in the lungs, the kidneys, the heart, and also along blood vessels. So all cells have protein receptors, and those receptors are meant to have HDL particles, lipid particles attach. Lipid particles that flow throughout the blood have energy. Okay, so when they attach to a cell, it's through a receptor. So there's these ACE2 receptors that this particular coronavirus is easily attacked to. Right, so all the stuff that you hear about, oh, it's just like a common flu, it's just, no. We really are not quite sure. But we do know that this is the means in which the virus attacks the cells. Okay? So when these people talk about the economic ramifications of this, they don't look about the larger picture. We have a government that can issue its own currency. So we can temporarily issue more currency and then worry about how to pay for it later by taxes. But there are ideologues, and there are, of course, greedy billionaires, which unfortunately is not all of the billionaires. A lot of enlightened billionaires out there get this because they understand reality. They think and they care about developing their understanding of the cosmos and the human ecosystem. They're not greedy. Some billionaires are, and they have billions, so that's what they do with those billions. They promote their greedy agendas. One of which is, we don't want to have to pay more taxes. So instead of responding to this crisis like the normal rational society would, oh, we got to lock down people to make sure this doesn't spread so we can get a better control over it. So in the meantime, let's just pay people to stay at home. That's what they did in Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, Australia, South Korea. That's what they did in most of the other parts of the country. I don't know about South Korea. I take that back. Okay? But you expend temporarily a subsidy to keep people at home who normally would not make an income because their jobs are part of the shutdown. That's the most effective way to handle this. That way, there's still demand out there in the economy. And by the way, when I say this, Mark Cuban, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, just recently said this year, like a couple days ago, in an interview on Yahoo Finance. So when I'm saying this is not some radical, communist perspective. No, this is obvious economics. This is what the government is for. It's there as a backstop to keep everything lubricated, because sometimes states can't manage it. And so that's why you got states like Kentucky that get more tax dollars from the federal government than they actually pay into. And so when Mitch McConnell wants to play his little games, this is the agenda. You know, you had not just Mitch McConnell, but what's his name? What's that guy? Oh God, I can't stand this guy. Newt Gingrich, who was in the Congress in the latter 1990s, and has been fed a lot of money to go around on this circuit tour, to speak here and speak there on these networks, and go to Fox News and lend intellectual legitimacy towards the starving of government and shrinking it down to the point to where they can just throw it in the toilet. So he goes on recently, says, well, subsidizing these states for their recent fiscal woes due to the reality of the COVID economic shutdown, because when taxes go down, when tolls go down, when revenues go down, states can't make that up. They're not getting that income. And when they have to spend more money because the federal government isn't investing in the PPE, isn't investing into tests, isn't doing none of that, and forcing the states to compete against each other, which is raising costs. When states have to do that, and right now the tax revenues go down and their costs go up, that's going to cause a deficit. States can't issue their own currency. So guess what that means? That means that they are in budgetary deficit. And you know what that means? Unless they get an influx, that means they're going to have to cut. Where are they going to cut? Police? Teachers? Firefighters? Where do you think? What? The waste, they're being irresponsible. That's what Newt Gingrich says. We can't subsidize church. They're just being irresponsible. No, they're not being irresponsible. They're managing a crisis, which causes their expenses to go astronomically up, and which caused their revenues to go astronomically down, and they were caught in a complete presidential administration's mismanagement of the crisis. That's not irresponsible. That's ridiculous to say. Funding and keeping the states whole is irresponsible at all. It's astonishing to me. So, what the